The mystery begins. The galaxy was wide, full of countless stars and civilizations. Empires rose and fell, yet one truth seemed clear to all. Humans were ordinary. They were young compared to other races, late to the stars, and still learning the deep laws of the universe. To many alien eyes, humanity looked weak, almost laughable. But whispers told a different story. Across trade routes and war councils, rumors moved like shadows. Some said entire fleets had vanished near human space. Others claimed planets that tried to invade Earth had gone silent, never sending another signal again. Yet no evidence was ever found. Not a single wreck, not a single survivor. Only silence. The galaxy mocked humans for being fragile. But in the back of every emperor's mind, there was a question they did not speak aloud. What if the humans were hiding something? The forbidden records, on the far edge of the Orion Arm, a scholar named Karith searched through forbidden archives. His people, the Serath, believed knowledge was power, and Karith was obsessed with humanity. What he found chilled him. There were fragments of old records, half-broken signals, hidden files from long-forgotten wars. They spoke of a fleet, a massive human fleet hidden away where no telescope could see. But it made no sense. Humans were new to space. Their ships were small, their technology basic. How could they build something the galaxy itself could not detect? Karith read the last line of one forbidden entry. The humans wait. They are not what they seem. His heart raced. If this was true, the galaxy was living in a lie. Vanishing shadows. Stories grew darker. A proud alien warlord once tried to conquer a human colony. His armada was large, his weapons powerful. For 3 days signals came, battle reports, laughter, promises of victory. Then nothing. His fleet vanished from the stars. The galaxy searched for survivors. None were ever found. Another time, pirates attacked human trade ships. The pirates were known for cruelty, never leaving survivors. But this time it was the pirates who never returned. Their ships disappeared, their bases abandoned. The galaxy whispered again, "The humans are weak, but dangerous." A calm too. Calm when the Zorian Empire demanded tribute from Earth. Their diplomats expected fear. They were a 1,000-year-old power, feared across the stars. But humanity's response was calm, too calm. The human ambassador bowed politely, offered trade, even smiled. Not a single threat, not a single word of defiance, but in his eyes there was no fear. The Zorians left confused. Some laughed, saying humans were cowards. But one Zorian, Captain, whispered to his crew, "No species is that calm before a storm." The unease across the galaxy, leaders debated. Was humanity bluffing? Or was there truth behind the whispers? Merchants swore they saw strange human ships in the dark, massive shadows that moved without sound, vanishing before scans could detect them. Soldiers told stories of battles where humans fought with unusual precision, as if guided by unseen power. Yet no one could prove anything. The galaxy lived in two realities. In one, humans were weak. In the other, they were predators waiting in silence. The scholar's warning Karith, the scholar, could not stay silent. He sent warnings to rulers and councils. Do not provoke humanity. They are not what they appear. Most ignored him. Some called him a fool. Others silenced him, afraid his words would spread panic. But one emperor read his report in secret. He placed the scroll on his throne and whispered, "If this is true, then we kneel, or we burn." A rising storm as years passed, the tension grew. Empires began to test humanity, sending spies and small fleets near human borders. Some returned, confused, reporting nothing unusual. Others never came back. The pattern was always the same. Silence, no wreckage, no survivors. Just silence. It was as if the galaxy itself erased them. The whispers became fear. The fear became silence. and the silence was the loudest warning of all. The hook one night, deep in the void, a lone merchant ship caught something on its sensors. A shadow. Vast, silent, moving with impossible speed. For a moment the stars disappeared behind its shape. The crew froze. They tried to scan it, but their instruments failed. Lights flickered, then the shadow vanished. The merchant captain whispered to his crew, his voice shaking, "That was no ghost. That was a fleet." The galaxy did not know it yet, but the time of hidden whispers was ending. Humanity's secret was about to be unveiled, and when it was, civilizations would fall to their knees, begging for mercy. Because the humans were not weak. They were waiting. The first encounter. The galaxy had many empires, but few were as proud as the Zorion Dominion. For centuries, they ruled their corner of space with iron claws. Worlds paid tribute, fleets bowed before their flag, and weaker races trembled at their name. To them, humanity was just another small race waiting to kneel. The Dominion believed they would conquer Earth as easily as they had conquered hundreds of other worlds. They were wrong. The demands. The Zorions sent a fleet of 50 warships toward Earth. Their arrival was loud, flashing across human skies like falling stars. The people of Earth watched from the ground, frightened yet silent. The Zorion commander, Lord Vakar, broadcast his message to every channel in human space. His voice echoed with arrogance. "Humans, your world now belongs to the Zorion Dominion. You will surrender your resources, your ships, and your people. In return, we will allow you to live. Refuse, and you will burn." To his crew, it was just another day, another weak species bending the knee. But Earth did not answer. Not immediately. The calm response. 2 days later, a single human vessel approached the Zorion flagship. It was not a warship, not even a heavy freighter, just a diplomatic craft, small and fragile compared to the massive Zorion armada. The aliens laughed when they saw it. Inside that ship was Ambassador Elias Ward, a tall man with calm eyes. He stood before the Zorion hologram, hands folded behind his back, voice steady and respectful. "The Earth does not seek war," he said simply. "We offer trade. We offer peace. But if you demand our surrender, then we must refuse." The Zorion officers roared with laughter. Peace? Trade? This was weakness. But Lord Vakar narrowed his eyes. He saw no fear in the human's face. Only calm. Too calm. "Do you understand what you are refusing, human?" he hissed. "We could destroy your fleets in minutes." Ambassador Ward tilted his head slightly. "Perhaps," he said softly, "but perhaps not. You should leave, while you still can." The chamber fell silent. Testing the weak, the Zorions did not leave. Instead, they chose to test humanity's defenses. They ordered 3 ships to destroy a small human outpost on the edge of the solar system. The attack began with thunder. Missiles struck the colony's shields. Lasers cut across the dark, and the Zorions laughed as explosions lit the void. Then, silence. The 3 Zorion ships stopped transmitting. No distress call, no wreckage, no survivors. They were simply gone. Lord Vakar slammed his fist against the console. "What happened?" But his officers had no answer. Their scanners showed nothing. It was as if the ships had been swallowed by the void itself. Fear in the crew began to whisper. Some believed the humans had secret weapons. Others thought the void spirits had taken the ships. Lord Vakar silenced them with threats, but he felt it too. An unease he could not explain. "The humans are tricksters," one officer muttered. "They must have allies." But no allies were seen, no ships, no fleets, nothing. Just the quiet hum of stars. Ambassador Ward's words echoed in the commander's mind. "You should leave, while you still can." The warning. The humans sent no retaliation. No fleets gathered, no armies marched. The Earth remained calm, silent, almost indifferent. Yet that silence felt like a storm waiting to break. On the 3rd day, another message came from Earth. It was short, simple. "Zorion Dominion, your demands are denied. If you enter human space again, you will not return. Lord Vekar laughed when he heard it. Empty threats, he growled. They are nothing but children with sticks. But deep inside, doubt gnawed at him, the vanishing fleet. The Zorian commander ordered a second strike. 10 ships advanced toward Mars, ready to burn its colonies as punishment. They never arrived. From the flagship, the crew watched in horror as each of the 10 signals blinked out one by one. No explosions, no debris, just silence. "Sir, they're gone," whispered the sensor officer, voice trembling. Lord Vekar's claws dug into his throne. "Gone? How? Where?" The officer shook his head. "There is nothing, my lord. No trace." The crew looked at each other with wide eyes. Some whispered the old rumors, the ones they had mocked before. The humans had a hidden fleet. The humans were hunters in the dark, a shaken empire. The Dominion had crushed countless worlds, but never had they faced an enemy they could not see, could not fight, could not understand. Lord Vekar pulled back his fleet. He told his empire it was a strategic retreat. But every soldier aboard his ships knew the truth. They were afraid. The Zorian Dominion, the mighty conquerors of stars, had tasted something new. Fear of the unknown. The whisper grows across the galaxy. News spread. The Dominion's mighty fleet had challenged humanity and fled. Merchants whispered of shadows moving in the void. Soldiers told stories of warships vanishing without a sound. Scholars searched old archives for forgotten human secrets. And everywhere, the same question spread like fire. What are the humans hiding? Because if the rumors were true, if the humans truly had a hidden fleet, then the galaxy itself was about to change. Whispers of the hidden fleet. The galaxy had always been loud. Fleets clashed in the void. Merchants filled the lanes with chatter, and empires roared about their victories. But after the Zorian retreat, a strange silence began to spread. A silence, filled not with peace but with fear. For the first time, civilizations spoke softly when they mentioned humanity. The rumors spread. On the trade world of Ventara, merchants gathered in the shadow of great crystal towers. They shared their news in whispers, leaning close so no one else could hear. One merchant claimed he had seen it, a fleet of dark human warships gliding past his convoy. They did not fire, did not speak, but every system on his ship shut down when they drew near. His crew thought they were dead, until the human ships vanished into the void. Another merchant swore his cousin's convoy had disappeared in human space. Not a trace remained. The only clue was a final transmission, a voice saying, "You should not be here." Some merchants laughed. "Stories," they said. "Humans are just lucky." But deep in their eyes, fear glimmered. Soldiers in the dark across the stars, soldiers whispered too. In barracks and war rooms the tales grew darker. A Zalan scout ship had entered human territory, cloaked and silent. Hours later, the crew sent a message, screams, static, and then silence. When their empire searched for the wreckage, they found nothing, not even dust. Another soldier swore he had fought near Mars. He remembered aiming his weapons at a small human craft. But before he could fire, his sensors went black. When vision returned, his fleet was gone. He was alone in the void, drifting. When asked how he survived, he shook his head and whispered, "They let me go." That frightened commanders more than destruction. If humanity could choose who lived and who vanished, then they had control beyond comprehension. Scholars seek the truth in grand libraries. Alien scholars studied ancient records. Many civilizations had faced humanity in the past, small wars, border disputes, pirate attacks. Always the humans seemed weaker. Yet somehow they always survived. One scholar, an elder named Tyvoran, uncovered a chilling pattern. For centuries, fleets had vanished near human space. Not many, only a few, enough to be forgotten, explained as bad luck or cosmic storms. But when he connected the timelines, he saw the truth. Every century, The number of vanishings grew. Small at first, then larger still. Humanity has been preparing, Tyvorin whispered to his students. They have been testing. They have been building. They are waiting. His students trembled. If his theory was true, then the humans had been planning for hundreds of years, long before the galaxy even noticed them. The split opinions. The galaxy divided. Some leaders believed the stories. They ordered their fleets to stay far from human space. They sent envoys, not soldiers. They spoke of peace, eager not to awaken the hidden power. Others refused to believe. They called it propaganda, lies spread by humans to make themselves seem dangerous. These leaders mocked the Dominion. For retreating, they sent their own scouts, convinced the truth would be revealed. Most never returned, and so the whispers grew louder. The fear of silence. It was not just the vanishings that frightened the galaxy. It was the silence. When the Zorions fought others, wreckage littered the stars. Survivors limped home with horror in their eyes. But when fleets fought humans, nothing remained. Not metal, not bodies, nothing. That silence was worse than destruction. It felt deliberate, as if humanity wanted the galaxy to know we see you, we erase you, and no one will know how. The traders packed on the neutral moon of Lethros. Several merchant guilds gathered. They made a secret decision. No more trade routes near human space. It is not worth the risk, one guildmaster said. A cargo. Lost is a fortune lost. But what if humanity has resources we need, another argued. The guildmaster shook his head. What we need is survival, and so without firing a single shot, humanity began to reshape the galaxy's economy. Trade shifted, routes bent away, and the humans grew more isolated, yet more feared. The shaken Dominion far away, the Zorian Dominion sat in uneasy silence. Their emperor demanded answers. Why had their fleets vanished? Why had their power failed? No commander could explain. Some suggested new weapons. Others spoke of secret allies. But none dared to speak the truth out loud. The humans had erased them. The emperor clenched his fists. No species defies us. No species hides from us. We will learn their secret. But deep inside, even he felt the fear. The hook and so. The galaxy entered a strange age. No wars were declared. No great battles fought. Yet fear ruled stronger than any army. Everywhere, whispers of the hidden fleet grew. Children in distant colonies spoke of ghost ships that hunted the stars. Soldiers refused to patrol near Earth. Even mighty emperors dreamed of shadows in the void. The galaxy had faced many enemies before, monsters, invaders, machines. But never had they faced an enemy that smiled politely, spoke softly, and waited, patiently in silence. And that silence was louder than war, because if the whispers were true, if humanity truly had a hidden fleet, then one day the galaxy would see it. And when that day came, the stars themselves would bow. Revelation of power. The galaxy had grown restless. Whispers of humanity's hidden strength no longer lived only in secret halls and merchant taverns. They echoed in war rooms, in thrones of emperors, and in the dreams of soldiers. But still, no proof, only rumors. Only silence. Until one empire made the mistake of pressing too far. The challenge. The Vathar coalition was bold, brutal, and arrogant. They believed the Zorians had fled because of cowardice, not because of human strength. To them, humanity was still weak, still soft, still prey. So the coalition declared war. Their fleets were vast, hundreds of warships armed with plasma cannons, carriers full of fighters, and dreadnoughts larger than cities. They swarmed toward Earth like locusts, confident in their strength. Their leader, High Admiral Clyron, sent a message across the stars. Humans, your lies end now. Your silence ends now. Kneel or be erased. The galaxy held its breath. This time, there would be no whispers. There would be proof. Earth's response from Earth, a single transmission, replied. It was not long. It was not loud. You have chosen war. You will regret it. No threats, no begging, just calm words, carried across the void. Admiral Clyron laughed when he heard it. Arrogance, he sneered. They think they can frighten me with silence. They will learn fear. But in his heart, unease stirred. The first strike, the coalition fleet reached the edge of the solar system. They moved in formation, their weapons hot, their engines burning bright. Mars was the first target. Colonies braced for impact, shields rising, civilians hiding underground. Coalition warships unleashed a storm, missiles, lasers, fire tearing across the black. And then, the sky tore open. The shadows awaken. At first, it looked like a trick of the light. Stars disappeared one by one as if shadows were swallowing them. Then the shadows moved. They were ships, human ships, but not the fragile craft the galaxy expected. These were leviathans, warships the size of moons, their hulls black as night, their shapes jagged like predators. They moved with silence, with precision, as if the void itself obeyed their will. One by one they revealed themselves. Dozens, hundreds. A fleet so vast it made the coalition armada look small. The whispers were true. The hidden fleet was real. The battle no one expected, the coalition opened fire immediately. Plasma cannons blazed. Missiles streaked through space, fighters swarmed forward. The void lit up with destruction. But the human ships did not flinch. They did not dodge. They simply absorbed the attack, shields bending the light, armor shrugging, off blasts that should have torn them apart. Then the humans struck. Beams of white light cut through space like blades, silent and deadly. Coalition dreadnoughts, proud and mighty, were sliced apart in seconds. Fighters vanished in flashes of fire, and yet the humans were not reckless. They did not annihilate everything at once. Their strikes were precise, controlled. It was as if they wanted to send a message. We could destroy you instantly, but we choose not to. The terror on. The coalition flagship, Admiral Clyron stared, in horror as his fleet burned. Impossible, he whispered. No technology can do this. No fleet can be this strong. But it was real. His dreadnoughts crumbled like paper. His fighters were dust. And through it all, the human fleet advanced in silence. Calm, steady, unstoppable. Clyron screamed orders, but his soldiers barely obeyed. Fear froze them. Some even abandoned their stations, weeping as they watched the black ships glide closer. It was not just power they faced, it was control. The message to the galaxy, the battle was broadcast across space. Hidden relays carried the signals, and soon every corner of the galaxy saw it. Empires, kings, and scholars watched as the mighty coalition fell. They saw human warships, black, massive, endless, carving through fleets with terrifying grace. For centuries, aliens had called humans weak. Now they saw the truth. Humanity had been patient. Humanity had been waiting. Humanity had been hiding power beyond imagination, mercy and warning. When the coalition fleet lay in ruins, the humans did not finish them. Instead, a single human voice echoed across the channels. Calm, clear. We are humanity. We do not seek conquest. But if you threaten us, you will fall. This is your only warning. The message ended. The fleet turned, silent once more, and vanished into the void as if it had never been there. The survivors of the coalition trembled. Their ships drifted broken, their pride shattered. And across the galaxy, billions whispered the same words. The hidden fleet is real. A galaxy on its knees in the aftermath. Empires sent envoys, not soldiers. Mighty rulers lowered their crowns in fear. Some begged for peace, others begged for mercy. None dared to threaten again. The galaxy had changed forever, because in the black silence of space, humanity had revealed its power, and every civilization knew one truth. If the humans wished, the stars themselves would kneel. Knees of the galaxy. The battle was over, but its echo spread across the stars. The Vathar coalition had fallen. Not through negotiation, not through surrender, but through a demonstration so terrifying that even the proudest empires trembled. The hidden fleet was no longer rumor. It was real. And now, the galaxy knew it. The silence after the storm, the days after the battle, a strange silence filled the void. The coalition's once mighty fleets drifted as shattered debris, while survivors limped home in broken vessels. But what shocked the galaxy most was not the destruction, it was the restraint. The human fleet could have destroyed everything, every ship, every soldier, every world. Yet they hadn't. They stopped when their point was made. To rulers across the stars, this was not mercy. It was worse. It was control. Humanity had shown power greater than any empire, yet chose not to wield it fully. It meant the humans could decide, at any moment, who lived and who died. The first kneel, the first to break, was the Talari Dominion. Their emperor stood before his council, robes trembling around him, and spoke the words no ruler ever wished to say. We must kneel. He sent envoys to Earth not with demands but with gifts, crystals, knowledge, and tribute. His message was simple: spare us, guide us, we submit. When the news spread, laughter echoed across some empires. The Talari had surrendered without a fight, but behind closed doors, other rulers thought differently. If kneeling meant survival, perhaps kneeling was wise. A flood of envoys, soon, embassies, flooded Earth's skies. Ships that once carried armies now carried ambassadors, gifts, and desperate pleas. The Quran sent entire vaults of gold. The Ojari offered living worlds as tribute. Even the proud Zorian Dominion, who once threatened Earth, sent envoys cloaked in shame. They begged not for alliance, but for mercy, and humanity listened. Humanity's response, in the great halls of Earth's new council, leaders debated. Some argued to accept tribute, to rule as kings over the galaxy. Others warned against it, fearing that power would corrupt them as it had corrupted every empire before. Finally, they chose their path. Humanity would not rule through conquest. They would rule through fear and respect. Their envoys spoke with calm voices. We seek no empire. We seek no thrones. But you will not threaten us again. You will stand beside us. Or you will kneel before us. The message carried across the stars. For some it was a relief. For others a death sentence. Broken pride. Not all accepted. Some empires tried to resist, clinging to pride. But each time a fleet rose, it was erased in silence. No survivors, no wreckage, just nothing. Resistance became suicide. Pride became weakness. And so one by one, civilizations bent their knees. The fear of what? Elsa's rulers submitted. One question spread like wildfire. If humanity has hidden a fleet this vast, what else are they hiding? Whispers told of weapons that could shatter suns, engines that could fold galaxies, machines that could erase memory itself. No one knew what was true. No one dared to find out, because the humans never answered those questions. They only smiled, spoke of peace, and waited in silence. That silence was worse than war. The kneeling of kings in a hall of silver on the planet Ceres, 10 rulers gathered before human envoys. They had once been kings and queens, emperors and empresses. Now they bowed low, crowns in their trembling hands. One ruler, voice breaking, asked, "Do you mean to enslave us?" The human envoy shook his head. "No, we mean to remind you the galaxy is not yours to take. It belongs to all. Kneel, and you may rise again. Defy us, and you will vanish." The rulers nodded. They had no choice. In that moment, centuries of power and pride crumbled. The galaxy had new masters, not because they demanded thrones, but because they had proven they could take them anytime they wished. A new order trade routes shifted again, not away from humanity this time, but toward them. Human colonies thrived, as alien resources flowed in tribute. Human science advanced as scholars from across the stars offered their secrets. It was not an empire built by force. It was an empire built by fear, and yet it was stable. For the first time in centuries, wars between alien empires slowed. No one dared to fight when the humans might be watching. Peace, born from terror. The hook, but deep beneath this uneasy peace, tension brewed. Some empires plotted in secret, dreaming of breaking humanity's grip. Some whispered of rebellion, of finding weapons strong enough to challenge the hidden fleet. And others wondered if the fleet was the limit. What if humanity had built more? What if there were fleets hidden beyond fleets, weapons beyond weapons? What if the galaxy had only seen a glimpse of their power? The rulers who had bowed now lived in constant fear, asking themselves the same question every night. What if humanity is still hiding something, humanity's choice? The galaxy had bowed. Kings lowered their crowns, empires sent tribute, and armies stayed silent. Humanity had unveiled its hidden fleet, and the stars themselves seemed to kneel. But a question burned brighter than ever. What would humanity do now? Would they conquer? Would they enslave? Would they demand thrones and crowns? The galaxy waited for their choice. The gathering of envoys, on Earth, in a great hall of glass and steel, envoys from 100 civilizations gathered. They came in silence, their robes heavy with fear. At the center stood the human council. No crowns rested on their heads, no golden thrones behind them, only calm faces, steady eyes. Ambassador Elias Ward, the same man who had once warned the Zorions, stepped forward. His voice carried across the chamber, steady as stone. "You wonder what we will do with this power," he began. "You wonder if we will rule you as you have ruled each other. You wonder if your freedom is already gone." The chamber was still. No one dared to breathe. The choice revealed. Ward's gaze swept across the alien leaders. "We will not rule you," he said softly. "We will not enslave you. We will not take your thrones." For a moment, hope flickered in alien eyes. But then Ward's voice hardened. "But neither will we allow you to rule as before. Your wars end. Your empires end. You will not prey on the weak. You will not burn worlds for pride. You will not enslave in the name of power. From this day forward, you will live under order." A murmur spread through the hall. Some envoys whispered in relief. Others trembled in anger. Ward raised his hand. The room fell silent. "This is not conquest. This is survival. We built the fleet, not to dominate but to endure." The history unveiled. The council revealed what few knew. Centuries ago, when humanity first stepped into the stars, they saw the truth. The galaxy was not a place of peace. It was a place of predators, empires crushing smaller races, wars that burned across generations. Humanity knew they could not survive if they showed weakness. So they hid their strength. They built their fleet in the shadows, hiding it beneath ice moons deep in dark nebulae beyond the eyes of every scanner. For centuries, they pretended to be fragile. They played the role of prey while preparing to be hunters. "We waited," Ward said, "until the time came to show the truth." Reaction: some envoys bowed their heads, ashamed. They had mocked humanity as weak while feasting on others. Now they realized humanity had learned from their cruelty and built a weapon against it. Others raged. The Zorion envoy spat on the floor. "You have no right to command us." But his voice shook. His empire had already lost fleets to silence. His words were hollow. Ward answered him calmly. "We do not command. We warn. Continue your ways, and your fleets will vanish as others have. This is our choice. Survival, for all or for none." The offer. Then humanity made an offer. "Stand with us," Ward said. "Share knowledge, share peace, share survival. You will keep your worlds, your cultures, your names, but you will not wage war as before. If you kneel, you rise again, not as subjects, but as partners." The words shocked many. It was not the demand of conquerors. It was the call of leaders. Yet it was clear. Humanity would allow no refusal. The fear. Behind the calm, even as they offered peace, alien rulers trembled. Because if this was humanity's choice, to unify the galaxy under survival, what would happen if they changed their minds? What if one day the humans grew tired of peace? The fleet had already proven it could erase entire empires in silence. And now, those ships still waited in the dark, unseen, watching. The galaxy was free, but it was a freedom under shadow, a new age. Slowly, one by one, envoys agreed. Treaties were signed, fleets were recalled. Wars ended not through victory, but through fear of a silent fleet waiting beyond the stars. Trade began to flow under human oversight. Disputes were settled by words, not weapons. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy tasted peace. But it was a peace forged by terror. And in the minds of rulers, one truth echoed. Humanity had not conquered, but they had not forgiven either. The hookahs, the envoys departed. One alien scholar whispered to his apprentice, "We are lucky. Lucky they chose peace, but remember, peace was not their only choice." The apprentice asked, "Do you think they have more fleets? More weapons?" The scholar's voice dropped to a fearful whisper. "If they hid this much for centuries, then what else lies in the dark?" The stars outside Earth's skies glittered, silently as if holding the answer, and across the galaxy, rulers lay awake at night, haunted by the same question. Humanity has made their choice today, but what will they choose tomorrow? The legacy. The galaxy was quiet now. Where once fleets clashed and empires roared, there was silence. But it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of fear. Humanity's choice had reshaped the stars. Wars ended. Empires bowed. The hidden fleet lingered like a shadow in the void. And no one, not even the proudest of rulers, dared to test it again. But silence, too, can echo. And in that echo, legends are born. The age of kneeling in. The years after the revelation, historians called it the age of kneeling. Worlds that once stood proud bent low to human envoys. Kings who once ruled with fire now ruled with trembling hands. Even the Zorian Dominion, once the galaxy's terror, signed treaties under human oversight. They did not kneel because they were weak. They knelt because they had seen what happened to those who refused. Fleets erased, empires silenced, pride turned to dust. The galaxy no longer laughed at humanity. Now, it watched every word, every gesture, with fear. The myth grows stories began to spread, stories larger than truth. Some said the hidden fleet was only a fragment, a small fraction of humanity's true power. That somewhere in the dark, more fleets waited, hidden in nebulae and voids beyond the maps. Others swore humanity had weapons that could shatter suns, engines that could fold entire galaxies, machines that could erase civilizations from memory. No proof was ever shown, no evidence ever found. Humanity neither confirmed nor denied. They smiled politely, said nothing, and let the rumors grow. And in that silence, the myth became greater than reality. The rebellions in shadows, not all bowed, willingly. In secret chambers, a few empires whispered of rebellion. They spoke of hidden research, forbidden weapons, ways to strike at the humans. They dreamed of freedom from the shadow, but rebellions never lasted. Scouts vanished. Laboratories were found empty, their scientists gone. Fleets built in secret never left their docks. No wreckage, no survivors, just silence. It was as if humanity did not crush rebellions. They simply erased them from existence. And soon, even whispers of rebellion died. Humanity's mask. The galaxy could never decide what humanity truly was. To some, they were saviors. They ended wars, stopped empires from devouring the weak, and brought order where chaos had ruled. To others, they were tyrants in disguise. They claimed not to rule, yet every ruler now bent to their will. They claimed not to conquer, yet they held the galaxy in chains of fear. But perhaps the most terrifying thought was this: maybe both were true. The children of the future generations passed. Alien children grew up not fearing the Zorians, not fearing their local kings, but fearing the humans. They played games where they pretended to see ghost ships in the dark. They told each other stories of humans who walked among them unseen, watching, waiting. To these children, humanity was no longer just another species. Humanity was the shadow behind the stars. Humanity was legend. The scholar's warning, an old, alien scholar named Ty Voren wrote the words that would echo for centuries. The humans have not conquered the galaxy. They have conquered fear. And fear is stronger than armies. Fear lasts longer than thrones. Empires may fall, but fear endures. Humanity has learned this truth. And now, so has the galaxy. His writings spread in secret, hidden in archives, whispered in dark halls. They were banned in many empires, but they lived on, because everyone knew they were true. Humanity's silence. The most haunting part was that after the revelation, humanity rarely spoke. Their fleets remained hidden. Their leaders rarely gave speeches. They did not march armies across worlds, nor did they demand crowns. They simply waited. And that waiting was worse than any war. Every ruler knew. If they defied humanity, if they tested the silence, the shadows would awaken again. And when they did, entire civilizations could vanish without a sound. The final hook centuries later, the galaxy still lived in the shadow of that choice. Peace endured, but it was peace under the watch of unseen eyes. Some called it mercy, others called it tyranny. But all agreed, humanity had changed everything. Because when the humans unveiled their fleet, they unveiled something greater than power. They unveiled the truth. The galaxy had believed humans were weak. But humans had never been weak. They had been patient. They had been watching. And they had been waiting. Now every empire, every world, every child across the stars asked the same question in whispers that trembled like prayer. If this is what humanity revealed, what are they still hiding? And in the endless dark of the cosmos, where the stars themselves seemed to shiver, the silence of humanity's fleet was the only answer.